Welcome to another episode of Historical Markers. This week we happen to be in Jackson County, Alabama. Why Alabama? Well, my wife's doing a craft retreat here this week, and so I'm going around this county and looking up the historical markers. So join us as we explore Jackson County. Here's the Bridgeport marker. It says Vital Memphis-Charleston Railroad, backbone of the Confederacy, spanned Tennessee River here. The bridge was burned several times in 1862 to 63. General Mitchell, occupying Huntsville after the Battle of Shiloh, seized Bridgeport in April of 1862 and held it until August. Federals recaptured the town in July of 1863 as Rosecrans took Chattanooga upriver. As end of usable railway from Nashville, the town became a key base of operations in the U.S. victory at Chickamauga and lifting of siege of Chattanooga. And then there are several monuments here on the ground in memory of Private James Johnson, in memory of Private Thomas G. Anthony, William A. Holden, John Montgomery II, John Carroll, and John A. Stevens. This marker in Bridgeport, Alabama is in remembrance of those who served. This stone is placed here a memorial to the brave men and women who fought to defend their homeland against northern invaders during the War for Southern Independence. Poor dirt farmers and homemakers who owned neither slave nor plantation, they fought to preserve the Constitution and to defend themselves against an invading army. Noble men who marched 'neath the flag of the Stars and Bars and were faithful to the end. And you can see a cannon and what looks to be an old train station. Just outside Bridgeport, we have this marker for the oldest Church of Christ in the state. Established in 1807, apparently this was placed in 1996 and placed by the Alabama Society Daughters of the American Revolution. And there is the church. From Bridgeport, Alabama, they have a nice walking trail here. I assume this may have previously been a railroad bridge. Possibly. Looks like there's people out here walking. And we're here for this marker that is for the Trail of Tears. Looks like this definitely used to be a railroad bridge. On May 23rd, 1838, the deadline for the Cherokee to move west to Oklahoma, General Winfield Scott was sent to Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia to round up the Cherokee and place them in stockades near what is now Chattanooga, Tennessee, and Fort Payne, Alabama. In June of 1838, about 5,000 Cherokee was removed from Ross's Landing, Tennessee, down the Tennessee River in flatboats and passed under where this bridge is now located. They would be forced on a steamboat to travel to the Ohio River and then go down the Mississippi River, then head west on the Arkansas River to a reservation in Oklahoma. Then when the Tennessee River got low, June 17, 1838, a detachment of 1,070 Indians left Ross's Landing and marched overland right near this bridge and followed closely to what is now US 72 highway. The group rebelled and refused to move, and about 300 escaped near Woodville. U.S. Captain Gus Drain was sent in to move them on to Waterloo, where they arrived in despicable condition. There were many escapes, births, and deaths on these removals, and this is why many people in Alabama has Indian heritage today. This bridge was burned by the Union Army twice during the Civil War in the 1860s and rebuilt and used for train travel until 1998. A new bridge was built, and this walking bridge was donated to the town of Bridgeport, Alabama. Bridgeport received a grant from CSX and the DOT to restore and make into a pedestrian bridge. Many thanks to the participants of the Trail-a-Tears commemorative motorcycle ride. And as you can hear, there is a train coming. This is the Bellefonte Cemetery. Before the courthouse was completed, the community selected a location for a cemetery. The highest elevation in Bellefonte's corporate limits was chosen as the town's burial place. The earliest inscribed marker in the Bellefonte Cemetery bears the date 1826. The Civil War exacted a heavy toll on Bellefonte. The Federal Army burned the courthouse and the town never recovered. The town square was sold at public auction in 1878. Only the Bellefonte Cemetery remains of the bustling Riverport town, which was Jackson County's seat of justice from 1828 until November of 1868. A 1936 TVA survey identifies 229 grave plots and 57 inscribed markers in the cemetery. Recent surveys of the cemetery show many graves with plain limestone rocks and numerous unmarked graves. The Jackson County Historical Association began efforts to preserve the Bellefonte Cemetery in 2005. They placed the marker here to honor those individuals who established the 19th century town of Bellefonte, Alabama. The Alabama Historical Commission listed the Bellefonte Cemetery in the Alabama Historical Cemetery Register in 2006. And then here's your path up to the cemetery. Appears to be totally overgrown. But here's a few markers from the cemetery. Henry Davis Sr., Henry Davis Jr., and then there's several other markers around in the woods here. On the other side of this sign is the town of Bellefonte. The Alabama legislature established Riley's on Mud Creek as a voting site 5 days after Jackson County was created on December 13, 1819. Shortly thereafter, Stephen Carter and George W. Higgins purchased James Riley's 640-acre Cherokee Reserve. According to local history, Carter and Higgins renamed Riley's on Mud Creek to Bellefonte after the spring which served the town's water supply, and sold lots in the town. On December 15, 1821, the Alabama legislature incorporated 60 acres in Bellefonte. 6 years later, the legislature extended Bellefonte's corporate limits to include 100 acres of land donated to the county by Carter and Higgins. Bellefonte was selected as Jackson County's first permanent seat of justice. A 2-story brick courthouse was erected in 1828. This marker is near Hollywood, Alabama in Jackson County, and this is the Old Baptist Cemetery. A historical significant 19th century burial site, the Old Baptist Cemetery is located in Hollywood, Alabama, in the area formerly known as the Mud Creek Primitive Baptist Church. The cemetery is named for the oldest documented Baptist church in Jackson County, which dates back to 1819. The cemetery's division reflects the era of its founding. The white section of the Old Baptist Cemetery, donated by Thomas Henry Machen, inters Civil War veterans. The cemetery's African American section, donated by Henry A. Stewart, contains the burial plots of former enslaved persons and their descendants. Joseph Eustace donated additional land for the church in 1844. The oldest graves in the Old Baptist Cemetery are marked by stone markers and worn hand stones. The African American plots were once marked by natural markers such as wood and flowers. And here's the cemetery today. Well, that was Jackson County, Alabama. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. We learned a lot of information, a lot of Civil War stuff happening in this area. And so, if you're ever in the area, look up some of these markers and see what you can see.